Welcome back to Friends with Benefits Car Club, where we talk about cars, car culture, and occasionally wonder if automakers are just trolling us at this point. I'm Io, your guide through the madness. Today, we've got a wild lineup. Tesla's playing a guessing game with delivery numbers because who needs consistency? Europe and China are beefing over EV tariffs, like it's an automotive Cold War, and Volkswagen is trying to convince Americans that they're suddenly really into smart cars. Meanwhile, the Dodge Charger EV got reviewed by MKBHD, so now half the internet is either foaming at the mouth or pretending they always loved electric muscle cars. Oh, and did I mention self-repairing EV batteries? Yeah, range anxiety might finally get ghosted, like your last situationship. Strap in, because this one's gonna be fun, or at least mildly entertaining while you sip your overpriced coffee. Let's get into it. So, Tesla's quarterly delivery numbers have become the Wall Street equivalent of guessing how much charge your EV actually has left at 2%. Nobody really knows, but everyone's got an opinion. This time, JP Morgan is throwing in its 2 cents, estimating that Tesla's Q1 deliveries could land anywhere between "we're doing great" and "uh-oh." Analysts are predicting a possible decline in deliveries compared to last year. And while that might sound bad, let's be honest, Tesla's been the master of making any news, good or bad, somehow sound like an inevitable step toward world domination. CEO Elon Musk could come out tomorrow and say they delivered 3 cars this quarter, and the stock would probably still find a way to rally because AI-driven, blockchain-enhanced, self-driving, over-the-air updated, quantum market optimized revenue stream. And of course, Tesla fans will argue that production issues, supply chain disruptions, and global economic factors all play a role, while critics will say it's proof that demand is slipping. Either way, we'll be watching Tesla's earnings report like a soap opera, full of drama, unexpected twists, and a loyal fan base that will defend the company no matter what. Tariff, tariff this, tariff that. When is Marvel Saga, the return of the tariffs, going to end? The EU is at it again, slapping tariffs on Chinese-made EVs to stop what they call unfair competition from heavily subsidized Chinese automakers. Sounds like a solid defense of European car brands, right? Well, not so fast, because Tesla, BMW, and Cupra are all caught in the middle, watching their supply chains get tangled like a bad Fast and Furious plot. Take Tesla, for example. They produced the Model 3 in Shanghai and export it to Europe. Now, with these new tariffs, their costs could go up, potentially making Tesla rethink its entire production strategy. And let's be real, if there's one thing Tesla doesn't like, it's extra costs that aren't being spent on optimizing a product that already exists, aka charging more for the same car. Meanwhile, BMW's iX3, another Chinese-made EV, could also see a price hike in Europe. Cupra, a brand under Volkswagen Group, is facing the same issue. They've been using China's cheap manufacturing power to roll out EVs at competitive prices, and now they're watching their profit margins shrink faster than Tesla's promises about full self-driving. But here's where it gets really spicy. China isn't just going to sit back and take the L. The Chinese government is already hinting at retaliatory tariffs, which could make life miserable for European automakers trying to sell their luxury cars in China. And considering BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen all rely on China as one of their biggest markets, this could turn into a full-blown automotive Cold War. At the end of the day, the real losers? Consumers. Prices could go up, supply chains could get messier, and anyone hoping for an affordable EV might just have to start shopping the used market instead. So, when does this Marvel saga of tariffs finally end? Probably around the same time Tesla actually delivers full self-driving. So, never. Imagine this. You're out on a road trip, your EV battery is running low, and instead of panicking and Googling the nearest charging station, the battery just fixes itself. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Well, apparently it's closer to reality than you think. Scientists are working on new self-repairing EV battery technology that could literally heal itself when damaged. The idea is that if microscopic cracks or damage occur in the battery's internal structure, special materials within the battery will react and heal the damaged spots, improving battery life and potentially extending range. This could be a game changer, not just for individual EV owners, but for the entire industry. Battery degradation has been one of the biggest concerns for EV skeptics. Nobody wants to spend a fortune on a car just to have its range shrink faster than their bank account after a night out. If this tech actually works, it could mean fewer battery replacements, longer lasting EVs, and maybe, just maybe, one less reason for people to complain about electric cars. But let's be real, if Tesla implements this first, Elon Musk is definitely going to market it as self-healing neural battery tech and make it sound like the car is regenerating itself like Wolverine. Volkswagen, the brand best known in America for the Beetle, the GTI, and let's be honest, the Dieselgate scandal, is now trying to break into the US smart car market. Yes, VW wants Americans to embrace their vision of intelligent, connected vehicles. And while that sounds futuristic, there's just one small problem. America still loves dumb, old-fashioned, gas-guzzling trucks and SUVs. Volkswagen's move is part of a broader strategy to stay relevant in an era where automakers are fighting to prove they're tech companies rather than just car manufacturers. Their focus? Advanced driver assistance systems, ADAS, AI-driven vehicle controls, and smarter infotainment, all of which are meant to make driving easier, safer, and more futuristic. Sounds great in theory, but have they seen how Americans drive? The general attitude toward driver assistance seems to be, why would I trust a car to drive for me when I can barely trust the guy in the lane next to me? And let's not forget that VW still has a bit of an image problem in the US. Despite making some excellent vehicles, the brand has struggled to rebuild trust since Dieselgate, and now they want Americans to believe in their self-driving AI-powered tech. That's like getting cheated on and then immediately trusting your ex to manage your bank account. Even if VW gets the tech right, their biggest challenge will be convincing Americans to buy into the idea of smart cars in the first place. Tesla has successfully made software-driven vehicles cool, but Volkswagen will have to fight uphill to prove they can offer something equally compelling. And with US drivers still clinging to their F-150s and Silverados like emotional support vehicles, VW might have better luck selling these in Europe and China first. Still, credit where it's due. At least they're trying. But if they want this to work, they might want to slap an autonomous Hellcat mode on one of these smart cars just to get Americans to pay attention. Not everything has to be an electric vehicle. I know, shocking coming from the EV world, but even the deputy editor of Inside EV said it. And he's not wrong. The rush to electrify everything, including high horsepower muscle cars, has created some hits, some misses, and then there's the Dodge Charger Daytona EV, a car that feels like it's stuck somewhere in between. Now, let me get personal here. I actually drove this thing last week. I was cruising through Torrance when I spotted it at my local Dodge dealership and just had to pull in. And to be honest, I do like the sound. That Fretzonic chambered exhaust is ridiculous, but in the best way. It's loud, it's dramatic, and it gets people turning their heads. But here's the problem. It only has one range of sound. There's no variation, no gear change simulation, nothing to break up the constant digital growl. But it's just there, droning on like it's stuck in the world's longest rev. You get that first wow moment, but after a few minutes, it kind of loses its magic. It's like a YouTuber intro that goes on for 5 minutes. Cool at first, then you just want to skip. And honestly, Dodge was onto something here. The exterior design is awesome. The performance is decent. 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds is still quick, even if it doesn't blow minds anymore. And the idea of a fully electric muscle car is bold. But when you compare it to its gas-powered siblings, or even competitors like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, which gives you a fake dual clutch experience complete with shifts and power band changes, the Charger Daytona starts to feel like a cool concept that isn't quite ready for battle. And let's not even talk about the price. At $85,965, it's pushing into luxury territory. For that money, you could get a Tesla Model 3 Performance and a used motorcycle for weekend thrills, or a gently used Challenger Scat Pack and enough gas to last you until retirement. So yeah, the Dodge Charger EV is fun and it's definitely turning heads. But until it evolves past the digital growl and brings more soul into the driving experience, it's going to have a hard time convincing muscle car purists to trade in their V8s. Right now it's okay, but to truly compete with its gas counterpart, it still needs some tuning. Lotus, a brand that has spent its entire history screaming "drive the car yourself," has now decided to jump into the autonomous driving race. That's right, the company best known for making lightweight sports cars that handle like surgical instruments is now working on tech that allows you to do absolutely nothing behind the wheel. Now, before you start imagining a self-driving Elise doing laps around the Nürburgring, let's clarify. Lotus isn't turning its entire lineup into robocars. What they're doing is developing a new autonomous driving division focused on advanced driver assistance for their upcoming luxury models like the all-electric Electra SUV and future high-performance sedans. The irony here is thick. Lotus has always been about pure, unfiltered driving engagement. Cars that make you feel like a race car driver, even when you're just running errands. And now they're pivoting to like AI-driven, hands-free driving. That's like if Ferrari decided to make a self-parking minivan. Of course, this isn't just about making cars that drive themselves. It's about data, safety, and selling high-tech features in a world where luxury car buyers expect their vehicles to be rolling supercomputers. With brands like Tesla, Mercedes, and BMW pushing advanced driver assistance features, Lotus doesn't want to be left in the dust. But here's the real kicker. Lotus is owned by Geely, the same Chinese company that owns Volvo and Polestar. And if there's one thing Geely is good at, it's integrating cutting-edge tech into its brands. So don't be surprised if future Lotus models come packed with AI-powered driving features that are way ahead of their European competition. The real question is, will hardcore Lotus fans accept a self-driving Lotus? It's one thing for a luxury sedan or SUV, but if they ever try to put this tech in a new Lotus Elise, we riot. For the past few years, the EV market has been like a wild party. Everyone was hyped, automakers were rolling out new models left and right, and investors were throwing money around like confetti. But now, reality is setting in, and some people are realizing they might have had one too many drinks at the hype bar. Here's the deal. EV adoption is still growing, but not as smoothly as some automakers hoped. Charging infrastructure is still a mess, battery supply chains are getting more expensive, and consumers aren't as quick to switch as everyone assumed. The result? EV suppliers are starting to panic. Suppliers who bet big on the EV boom are now facing slowdowns, with some seeing decreased orders from automakers. Why? Because major car brands are adjusting their production plans to align with actual demand, not just the sky-high projections they made in their PowerPoint presentations. The main problem? Consumer hesitation. Sure, EVs are cool, but some people are holding off on buying one because they don't trust the charging network, or they think the battery tech still has room to improve. Meanwhile, automakers are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do they keep investing in EV production at full speed, or do they slow down and focus on hybrids and more efficient gas cars while waiting for the infrastructure to catch up? The result? Market uncertainty, shaky investor confidence, and suppliers realizing that maybe they shouldn't have put all their chips on an all-electric future just yet. EVs aren't going anywhere, but the road to full electrification is looking a lot bumpier than expected. So buckle up, because the next few years in the auto industry are about to be very interesting. And that's a wrap for today's car chaos. Tesla's still making up numbers, Dodge fans are still pretending they didn't swear off EVs last week, and VW thinks they can sell smart cars in a country where people still love their 20-year-old Camrys. It's a beautiful mess and we love it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. We can take it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Which story shocked you the most? And if you want to catch up on previous episodes, I'll leave them up on the screen for you. Seriously, thank you for watching to the end. It means the world to us. Whether you're here for the laughs, the news, or just to hang out, you're part of the Friends with Benefits family. As always, thanks for joining us on this ride. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep driving, and remember, if the car you're driving doesn't make you feel like a superhero, you're driving the wrong one. Friends with Benefits, driving off.